as red. She's got the spices, smile so bright. Cooking with Judith right by my side. By my side. Chop, chop, sizzle, frying pan heat. From pancakes to a fancy feast. Cooking with Judith, fun to say the least. The least.
Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Judith, and today I'm going to do sausage and mash pie. Now, this isn't something my mother ever made. If she'd heard about it, she probably would have. It can be a very economical and very filling, comforting dinner, and it's fairly simple to make. So I have some pork sausages. These are actually labeled as English breakfast sausage, but if you can find proper bangers or whatever, just use whatever kind of sausage you prefer. And of course I've got some russet potatoes for the topping. We are going to top it with mashed potatoes. Onion, because we're going to make a lovely onion gravy. So for that I have some beef stock. This is concentrated, so I am going to have to dilute it. Normally I wouldn't top my mashed potatoes, if shepherd's pie or anything like that I make, with cheese. But for this one, I think I will. I have some lovely Irish cheddar we're going to use. So let me get started. First thing we want to do is brown our sausages all over. But I have a skillet. And we're just going to put a little oil in just so the sausages don't stick. And like I said, all we want to do is brown them. We're not really trying to cook them all the way through. I mean, it doesn't matter if they do, so don't worry about it. So we just want to get them nice and brown all over. So let's give them some time to brown. Okay. So our sausages. Wow. Shouldn't move them before I talk. Sausages are doing wonderfully. But as you can see, my sausages are quite curved. So getting the underside brown is a challenge. We don't really need to worry about cooking them all the way through. They will cook more once in the gravy. We're just going to remove them. I think I'm going to lower the temperature in my pan a little, just because it is been on for a while and it is hot. So to make our gravy, first off, we need to saute some onions. So that's why I want this to cool a bit. So now that our pan is cooled a little bit, there is quite a bit of oil in there and fat from the sausages. But I am going to add a bit of butter, probably about a tablespoon, just a little knob. And I have one sliced yellow onion. I would say a medium onion, but around here our onions are really big, so a lot of people might consider it a large onion. It will cook down a lot, so I'm not worried about that. Oops, get that in there. And to help draw out the liquid from the onion, we're just going to put in a little bit of salt, maybe half a teaspoon. Make sure the onion gets coated in all the butter and the fat and the salt. And I'm going to put the lid on and let it sweat down. That will take a while, maybe 10-15 minutes, and then we'll give it a look. Meanwhile, I am going to peel the potatoes and get them started to boil. Alright, that's 10 minutes or so. And yes, I did open it and give it a little stir a minute ago. And our onions are nice and soft and starting to brown. So what we do now is I want a spatula rather than those tongs. We're going to add in a little bit of flour. That's about 2 tablespoons maybe. And we're just going to stir everything around to coat this guy. Oops. Go. And we're just going to let that cook for a bit. And yes, since the steam was violently escaping under that lid, I did turn the heat down, but not that long ago. So it's pretty much been on a medium-low for the whole time. So we just want to cook the flour off a little bit before we add our liquid. And give it a turn, just so that all the flour gets the heat. And by the way, no worries about those black specks. That's just bits from the sausages. That is quite welcome. Nothing is burnt. Now we have our beef stock. And as I said, this is concentrated, so I did dilute it according to package directions. And we're going to put a little bit in, stir it around. Let the flour contact the liquid. And that's about 600 milliliters. So just over 2 cups of beef stock. I like this one because you can dilute it to your preference. It can be a fairly strong stock or a weak one, depending on what you want. And we're going to let that cook for a minute. The potatoes are starting to come to a boil. Turning the heat up under our gravy just a little bit. We do want it to simmer so that we're sure there's not going to be any lumps of flour. To add most of the rest of the beef stock. And I'm going to reserve some just in case our gravy gets too thick, but I don't want to put it all in case the gravy is too thin. And we're going to add a little bit of rosemary. Just some dried rosemary, and I like to rub it between my palms. And a little bit of thyme. Just maybe half a teaspoon, maybe not even that much. Now you can add whatever seasonings you like. A lot of people prefer sage with thyme for pork sausage, or honestly don't know what else you would be putting in. Let me know. Give me a comment and tell me what seasonings you prefer. So let's get that up to a bit of a simmer so we can add our sausage back. But first, we need to slice it into bite-sized pieces. Actually, now we got to this stage, before I put the sausage back in, I want to taste. Because we may want to adjust the seasoning. Pretty good. We really don't want to add any more salt. So we just want to get it to a boil. I think adding the sausage back in will be the flavor enhancer that it needs. Okay, starting to get some movement there. So in we go with our sliced sausages. And what juices are left in the bowl. And we're going to let that come up to a simmer. Let the gravy thicken. Potatoes, turn that up a bit. And once this is all done, the sausages are cooked and the gravy is done, the potatoes are cooked, we'll mash them. Everything has to cool. Yes, so you do have to start this early in the day because you can't put it together hot. It's just not going to be as nice. Alright, now that everything's cool, we're going to put it together. We've got our sausages and gravy in the casserole. One thing I didn't put in is the Worcestershire sauce. That is optional. I have family members that don't like it, so sometimes I leave it out, especially if I want them to eat it. And our next job is to put our potato on top. So, let's loosen up the potato a little bit. And no, I'm not going to use my finger. I'm going to be good. And spread the potato on the top. And this is easier to do when your filling is cold, or room temperature at the very most. Then things don't kind of sink in quite as much. Okay, now you can do it with fork things or smooth it and fluff it, however you want to. Make your potatoes happy. Remember, the gravy is going to boil up around the edges. Do put a pan underneath in the oven so that you don't have it boiling over and making a mess. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I don't usually use cheese. I usually just dot it with butter. But today we're going to use this lovely Irish cheddar that I bought. And we are going to put actually quite a bit on. We're going to do a nice cheddar topping. Oops. Trying to keep it all on the potato in a thin layer. Spread it around. There we go. Okay, so now this has to go in the oven 30 to 40 minutes at 400 degrees just to heat it up and brown the top. I know I said you only wanted to put it in the oven to brown, but yeah, you needed to put it in the oven to reheat as well as brown. That's why it takes 30 to 40 minutes. So this is 30 minutes and our topping is beautifully browned, except I should have probably turned it because one side's a bit paler than the other, but everybody's oven kind of does that. So now give it some time to cool, 5 minutes or so, and it's time for dinner. Sausage and mash pie. I did choose to serve it with some green peas. You can do mushy peas if you want, or whatever vegetable you prefer. But I want some butter on the peas. Just a little. I know it's already soaked in butter everywhere. Let's have a little taste of the gravy. Lovely. Like I said, you can use Worcestershire sauce if you have family members that aren't objecting to it. You can use a bay leaf. You can, vary the spices depending on what you like. Let's have a piece of the sausage. Oh yes, that is delicious. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked the recipe. Please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I will see you again soon with a new video. I am going to thoroughly enjoy this.